So You Think You Can Write, where we give serious writing critique without taking ourselves too seriously. So yeah, I finally got that one right.
No, keep breathing.
It took a long time, but I got that right. All right, so my name is Randy Lindsay, and with me here today is...
Adrienne Quintana.
Janette Rallison.
Lisa Mangum.
Brock Booher.
And we're so excited to have Lisa here, who has the real chops for being an agent or editor, whereas we just
Pretend.
kind of pretend that we are. So
We're experts on the internet.
The real thing.
that's the real
Editor.
thing. So
Just
we're
for a
really
little while,
excited.
though. She's only been an editor for a few
20 years. 20.
Right.
Just 20 years.
Just
you know.
All right, and so the
No
way this
big
show
deal.
works is today Brock is going to read a first page submission we received, and the rest of us, well, Lisa's going to actually be an editor, and then the rest of us are going to pretend that we know what an editor or agent would think.
We might say or do things that people have said or done to us.
Right, and if we reach a point where we would stop reading the manuscript or reject it, we will. There we go.
Yeah.
The buzzer, the dreaded buzzer. Right, take it
Are
away,
we
Brock.
ready? Okay. Chapter 0. In the beginning. Nothing. No sound of silence. No black for darkness. A void of voids. Like a single point in want of dimension, of awareness. Then a distant ringing approaches. Crescendos. Shatters. Light. Why would you stop there?
So far, nothing has happened, and it's just been a lot of description of darkness and nothing and silence, and that's not interesting. I don't know where I am. I don't have a place or point in time to be anchored, and it feels a little overwritten, like the author maybe is trying a little too hard.
Almost like it's a poetry class, like
Yeah.
blank verse or something.
Okay.
Yeah, like they listen to their English teachers.
We love you, but
Yeah, you're doing a
Not
fine
like
job,
it.
English
I'm,
teachers.
I'm not sure that the author, I don't know the author's voice yet, and that is making me pull back.
Sure. Okay, I'll keep going. The subject violently awakens inside a bulky
Wait.
human-shaped...
Did you say light?
I did. I said it
That's when I buzzed
before.
it.
That's when she buzzed it.
All right, but I'm going to buzz it for a completely different reason.
Okay.
So I don't know what light means in a manuscript. That's not. I mean, Lisa, is that something? I mean, so I might be out of my.
No, it's
my
very
league.
unusual. The way it's presented on the page, light is all in capital letters, and then it's got carrots on either side of it, and it looks almost like stage directions, which is very strange because it's not a play or a screenplay. It's supposed to be a novel, and that is another thing where I'm very confused about what it is I'm actually reading. Visually, it's off-putting.
Right, and it struck me as like maybe there's attempting for a stage direction screenplay. I know that's not correct either because the format for a
Correct.
screenplay, that is also not how you do it. So I don't know what light is, right? And I'm totally for that, but I don't think it belongs in a novel. And
Okay. The subject violently awakens inside a bulky, human-shaped white metal container. He gasps for air as his torso is propelled upward, the adrenaline taking over. Crack. He smashes his forehead with brutal, concussive force against the small, diaphanous viewing window of the Botero-esque pod.
I don't know. I just
You
had this
interrupted me
feeling like I
saying-
should buzz right there.
You interrupted me saying Botero-esque.
Botero-esque. Yeah. Okay. So I had a couple problems with that. Like, obviously, I don't know what Botero-esque means. Quite frankly, I'm going to admit that right now, and I'm a 42-year-old woman. So.
I don't know what it means either.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel
does
better.
anyone know what it means?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but just also in that paragraph, I kind of have a hard time imagining where I'm at. There's some kind of a human-shaped box. So at first, I was imagining that the arms, like it's shaped like a person, like a cookie cutter,
Like
or
a
something.
mime?
But then he comes up and hits his head, and I don't know. I just couldn't really feel the space that I was
It's a
in.
mime.
It's a coffin.
It's a
That's
mime
what I
in
was
a
thinking.
box.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's that kind of box.
No, I'm not kidding.
Who knows?
Okay.
Okay,
We're
I'm
at a
picturing it
window.
right now.
I'll keep going. Then cuts to black with the symbols going the other way.
Like Nixon.
Like Nixon. There you go. Chapter 1. The Doctor. What's the last thing you remember? A solidly built doctor in a white lab coat, green shirt, and brown tie stirs in a chair across from the subject in a grayish blue chiaroscuro examination room. A simply lit...
Okay. I'm buzzing now because we've got a ways in, and I don't know who the narrator is. I don't know who the main character is. I feel like I need somebody's head to be in. So this seems sort of like it doesn't know whether it wants to be a screenplay or a novel, and the author needs to decide and then go with whatever that is, that direction.
And I'm not sure what chiaroscuro is
Yeah,
either.
that's
so-
true. Don't know
but
that one.
It's the comparison. It's the stark black and white. It's an art term.
Oh, do you know that?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I
there
thought it
you
was like
go.
a cinnamon and
That's why we
sugar
have her on the
flavored
show.
like thing that you get at the fair.
Oh.
I did it
No.
too. Yeah. Is that, yeah.
Caravaggio, the famous painter Caravaggio, is known for this technique of really
Okay.
deep blacks and really bright white lights. So you have that really stark composition.
Chiaroscuro
Yeah,
composition.
yeah.
Well, I'm
But-
really curious about our author that he.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
it's
Who knows
fascinating.
these words?
Learning some new words today. Okay. A single lamp darkly illuminates the space in cheery Gestapo tones.
Can I?
Yeah.
Sorry, I want to buzz again. Thank
Happy
you.
Nazi. That's what we're going for.
Yeah, this is very strange. A space in cheery Gestapo tones. My first thought actually was, did the author mean gazpacho, like the soup?
That is cheery.
And but I don't think that's what they were going for. But the idea of the cheery Gestapo is such a strange juxtaposition that it pulls me right out of the story. I have to stop and think about how those two words relate or don't relate, and I don't think they relate.
Maybe it's like Nazis in springtime. That
Maybe.
musical.
Well, he had
Maybe.
I'm guessing he's going for that.
There's
But
a real
doubtful.
musical.
There's
Okay.
a musical called Nazis in Springtime.
And then they also in that
the
same
producers,
sentence
they-
had
Oh,
the
yes.
they-
Okay.
Oh,
I
okay.
it's like what?
My faith in humanity is restored then. Okay.
that
go
same
on.
sentence had darkly illuminates too, which is kind of
Which is very strange.
Interesting.
Okay.
And if you are going to use Gestapo, it has to be capitalized. That's the copy editor and
important
me. Just for a note.
Capitalize your Nazi terms.
I'm not sure I can continue. I remember the prison. The words almost escape his lips. The subject is hunched over on the padded exam room slab. He's gaunt, head shaven, and in obvious pain, psychological and otherwise. From the black-blue hillock of bandages formerly known as the right side of his forehead, and heretofore unfractured, now fractured, right zygomatic bone. A similarly colored razor wire tattoo wraps around his left bicep, peeking out from under the short sleeves of patient scrubs. Wow.
Okay.
Very good. Some good use of vocabulary. Learned some words on this one.
Yeah.
I remember the prison. Like I thought that was
You were in
intriguing.
prison?
I was. That's
I felt like that
As
last
most
paragraph
authors.
kind of was where the story actually felt like it started
Yeah.
to me.
yeah.
I remember prison.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't
Like
know
we're kind
what
of
the
getting
first
more of an
one's
idea.
about.
Yeah. Who's who.
Yeah, I think we could just start with what's the last thing you remember and go to the story there. That might be more interesting than
Then
than
blackness.
crescendos and shatters. And,
Yeah.
And then light.
and
No, no,
this is our
that-
favorite term now.
That I'm
Light.
all for.
Yeah.
Light. I mean, I'm going to ask my kids when I get home if this is a bad term, but otherwise, light.
No, we might be doing like gangs.
Yeah,
We might be.
We
really
might get
could.
hate mail after
Took it up on
this
me.
anyway. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
We may have just declared war on some gang in L.A. and in that case,
Sleep
we're
with
in
one
trouble.
eye open.
It's okay because Janette's been in prison.
I
so-
remember
Prison.
prison.
She'll just shank him if they come around us.
But I do think you bring up a good point about starting it with what's the last thing you remember, because I do feel like a lot of this essentially is a character waking up from a dream at the beginning. This chapter 0 in the beginning is essentially that, and that's a super overdone cliche
Yes, like
in
it.
stories. And if you're going to, I think that the author would be better served asking themselves, am I starting the story in the right place? I think the answer to this one is no, they're not. And starting with the conversation between the doctor and this patient might be even a better, for sure is a better place to start.
Yeah, I just really felt like this was like more about the author than about the story. It felt, I could feel that they were trying to impress me with the words, and you want to be in the story, not thinking about who wrote the story.
I think they had a really cool idea in their head, and they're being really artistic.
Yeah.
But I think that fails in this medium. We need more of to meet the expectation of the readers rather than really flaunting your wildly creative mind on the page when the readers aren't quite ready for that. You're just too far ahead of the readers.
The visual there of that it sounds like he's almost dictating this into like a medical record. His gaunt, head shaven, and in obvious pain, psychological and otherwise, from the black and blue hillock of bandages, formerly known as the right side
I
of his
liked
forehead.
formerly known as the
Formerly
right.
known
I thought
as,
that
yeah.
was cute.
That is
But
good.
I keep thinking of Party Like It's 1999 when I hear that. for some reason.
Because, oh yeah,
Prince.
yeah, we get that reference.
Formerly known as. Yeah,
Formerly known
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm an old guy. Anyway.
it's still relevant.
Okay.
Well, I guess we need to vote, though. You
Okay,
wanna
and
start?
so I'm going to start.
You're a star, okay.
I'm going to start. And I'm going to give it a right. I mean, even though light, okay? I totally love that. We need to know more about the character and get into the story and tell us why any of this is relevant to what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm going to say right also. I like the idea of it. I think the concept's interesting and I would want to keep reading on, but I would want less big words. I would want, depending on, well, it doesn't matter if this is for adults or for young adults. I think that it needs to be real vocabulary.
And I would say, right, also, I think the author needs to decide whether they want to go full out screenplay or novel. But if it's novel, then put us in the mind of the main character, not the narrator, but the main character.
I would say right, and actually I want to key off something that you said about the artistry of the story. And great art, like a painting, has to have a stable canvas underneath it for you to actually then be able to paint on something. So I think getting to the fundamental structure of this, starting it in the right place, having the right main character voice, using some, establishing some of those nuts and bolts is going to provide the framework or the canvas for then the author to paint with words and images onto the story the things that they really want to show us and say. Right now, I don't feel like that stability and that structure is there.
You say that so much better than I did. That's why you're a superhero.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Everything she said.
Yeah.
No, I would
Ditto,
agree
yeah.
also, though, that it feels very cinematic. I love some of the visual aspects of it, but it does feel more like a screenplay than a novel. I love the fact that I learned some new words, but that does sometimes slow the story down, and that did slow this story down a little bit because I kind of go, I don't know what that means. I'd probably stop and get a dictionary, and then I might put it down, and it might get interrupted by, my wife asking me to take out the trash or something and never get back to it. So I'll take out the trash, honey, don't worry. So I'm going to also give it a right.
All right, so did we get it right? If you disagree, or you agree, or you want to ask Janette about her prison
term.
sentence, just
Ask
leave
about her
comments.
tattoos. We want to see them.
And I think the comments will be here, but they could be here this time. I'm not sure. They'll be somewhere on the screen. And don't forget that we also have a podcast, and you can check that out at readysetwritepodcast@gmail.com. And otherwise, until next week, get ready.
Get set.
Right.
In addition to our quarterly prize of a William Shakespeare air freshener, we have additional yearly prizes.
That's right. We have a Get Out of the Slush Pile free from Shadow Mountain and also a first chapter critique.
And the same prize coming from Cedar Fort Publishing. So you'll get out of the slush pile with them and also the chapter critique.
Some great prizes we offer. Also, you can follow us at our podcast, Ready, Set, Write Podcast. You can find us on the internet. You can find us through Apple as well, through iTunes. And look for us on all of our social media. Also, look for our published books wherever good books are sold, because we do write occasionally, because that's what we do. And we'd like to thank Connor BLAYLOCK for his technical support and helping us get this production put together.
I know the other book just went behind it. Feel it.
He's probably going to bleep all this out. But anyway, that's okay. Thank you, Connor. And of course, thanks to you for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube and to all the social media that we also subscribe to, and we're glad to interact with you anytime. Until next time.
Get ready.
Get set.
Right. What are you doing, Janette?
I'm waiting for people to subscribe. Might take a while.
Well, hurry up.
Subscribe.
This is annoying me.
I want to go home. Subscribe.
Please.
3 messages.
I keep hitting the subscribe button and it's not doing it.
Just keep pressing it. Leave it over. That's Billy Graham's daughter.
I can't work my phone, so don't ask me.
Okay.
Oh, look, I got tagged in Facebook.
See, this is going to be good.
Talk.
Oh, we can use it. We can use it.
Did you guys hear something?
Let's see if we'll go on till like
I think we're done.